right? So with that thought, we will start for today. Actually, we were discussing about audit planning steps, and we had a discussion on risk assessment as well, right? Last week, we discussed about significant accounts and SCOT identification, right? So today, I will discuss about the remaining parts of planning and risk assessment. Basically, after conducting today's lecture, you should have a clear understanding about planning activities, how we can decide audit approach. So today lecture plus next week, definitely we can have another briefing about this overall planning and risk assessment. With that, yeah, start in the execution. You know that without having proper planning and risk assessment understanding, we can't do execution. So all the participants who are joining virtually should have, basic understanding of planning activities and what are the steps and what are the things we did as auditor to plan and do risk assessment, and accordingly we can decide audit procedures and we can execute, right? So that is the basic understanding. So you should know where we are now. We are discussing about planning and risk assessment activities. We had a detailed discussion about LOE, audit team, and then maturity levels, and then significant accounts, SCOTs, so all the things we understood. And last week, actually, we discussed about some process, some activity called walkthrough test. Can anyone give an idea about the walkthrough test? I explained the reason for doing a walkthrough and what's the purpose, how we are doing that. So anyone can support me to get explanation about a walkthrough test? Walkthrough? Can බලන්න එකනේ. අද physical classroom එකට වඩා වැඩියෙන් කතා කරන්න ඕන ළමයි. Otherwise, it's really difficult to keep the attention. What do you mean by walkthrough? මොකක්ද walkthrough එකක් කියන්නේ? ලියනගේ? දන්නේ නැත්නම් දන්නේ නැහැ කියන්න ඕන. නැත්නම් දැන් physical classroom එකේ නම් so we can see your expressions, දන්නේ නැත්නම් දන්නේ නැහැ කියලා හිතෙනවා. මම බලන් ඉන්නවා දැන් ලියනගේ කිව්වම දන්නේ නැත්නම් දන්නේ නැහැ කියන්න. නැත්නම් දන්නව නම් කියන්න. නැත්නම් මම මෙතනින් remove කරලා දානවා class එකෙන්. ඒ කියන්නේ virtually join වෙනව නම් you have to be the physically present, mentally you have to pay your attention. So I'm talking to Lienage. Lienage, I'm asking from you, do you know about a walkthrough and purpose of a walkthrough? Can you give kind of a basic understanding of a walkthrough?
Hello?
Yes.
Can't remember, sir.
Sorry?
Can't remember that, sir.
Right. Okay. Then Samanmali. Samanmaliටත් පුළුවන් දන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කියන්න. ඒක
I
ලේසි.
can't remember.
Right. Okay. අත්තිදිය. අත්තිදිය 0 to 0. අත්තිදිය. ඒ කියන්නේ if you all can't unmute and give your answer, you can send a text to the group or something like that. You can say that I can't unmute or some technical difficulty or something like that. So then want to decide whether we are going to remove from the class or not. Atidya, are you there? Atidya. So then shall I remove Atidya from the class? Atidya, are you there? Atidya. So then Atidya, I am sending a mail to, so I don't have option to remove. I am sending a mail to SAB. Don't consider this as attendance to this class, right? So then if you are comfortable way, so that you contact me before the class if you want to consider this as a attendance for today virtual class, right? So then uh, you can remove, you can go away from the class. So then attendance won't be captured for today, right? 002 020 Atidya. If you have an issue with the mic, let me know, or tell me a message, something like that. So the infas, can you give me answer? What do you know about walkthrough? Last week I discussed no. Infas, am I audible? Infas, are you there? So then unfortunately Infas also will consider as absent. No point to do the class, right? Menaka, can I talk to you?
So it's a process when we are doing an audit. When we are doing an audit to ensure that the trustness of the accounting system.
Yeah, here Bandar. Yes, can you repeat yourself again?
It's kind of a process when we are performing an audit of a company to ensure that reliability of the accounting system of that company.
Yes, basically it's a kind of a process understanding that is correct. Last week I gave you a kind of a basic understanding about a walkthrough. No? Did I discuss about Scott last week? Scott identification?
No, sir.
Where we stopped at? At which point we stopped last week?
Audit risk.
Yeah, audit risk assessment, and we discuss about inherent risk and control risk. So then I inform you, I discuss about how we are going to assess the control risk, right? So then what you have to do is, once you are analyzing control risk, key source of information is walkthrough test. So that was the understanding we had last week. Yes, we discussed about this uh, combined risk assessment. Combined risk assessment consisted what? Inherent risk plus control risk. So then control risk mean at the initial stage of the combined risk assessment, it's about design and implementation effectiveness, right? So then to that understanding, we do walkthrough test, right? So that is the basic understanding you should have. So then walkthrough mean, you know that if you are having a control, we have three different stages. Three different stages. What are the stages in a control? Can you tell me? If it is a control, what are the basic steps, stages?
It should be
Sorry?
designed. It should be designed first of all.
Yeah, design,
Implemented,
implementation,
and effectiveness.
operation, right?
Operation.
Good.
Yes.
Really good. අන්න එහෙම කට්ටිය කතා කරන්න නැත්නම් වීඩියෝ ඔන් කළත් නැහැ කතා කරන්නෙත් නැත්නම් මම මෙහි ඔය කියාගෙන යනවා. No point to have the lecture so that we can enjoy today evening, right? So then to have lecture today, so I want to discuss all these technical things about planning and risk assessment and conclude today, right? So to do that, I need your support, right? So then, like now, so then it's very clear. Yes, in a control, we have three stages. Here, design, implementation, and operation, right? So then, from a walkthrough test, we are covering these two steps. We are covering these two areas, design and implementation, right? Design and implementation will be covered through walkthrough test, right? Give me a second. Right. You all can see the screen, right? My Excel sheet.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So then three stages are there, and then we are doing a walkthrough to check the design and implementation effectiveness of the control, right? Design and implementation effectiveness of the control. So then through that, So I'm moving the Excel, is still not.
I think it's getting stuck.
Yes. Check that. Give me a second. Right. You can't see the screen, right? Excel?
Still we can see you only, sir.
I should. See? Right. Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Can see, sir.
Right. So then, sorry for the delay. What I was discussing about control, we have 3 stages. Through walkthrough test, we are doing, we are focusing about design and implementation, right? So then, if someone in the question paper or whatever the forum you are in, if someone asks from you what do you mean by a walkthrough and purpose of a walkthrough test, the pure purpose is to identify, to understand the design and implementation effectiveness of the controls relating to significant processes, auditor supposed to perform walkthrough test. Main purpose is to understand design and implementation effectiveness of the processes, right? So that is about walkthrough test, right? So then have that understanding. So then we can understand how we are going to perform a walkthrough test. How we are going to perform a walkthrough test, or how we can decide it. So this is very critical. You need to listen carefully. I will explain one by one how we are going to do a walkthrough test and how you can decide that, how we are going to select, identify spots, right? So then now onwards, it's very crucial to listen and pay your attention, right? Firstly, we have draft financials. Draft financials, right? Draft financials we had. Draft financials, we wanted to give audit opinion. We wanted to give audit opinion. So then අත්තිදිය and infas join වෙලා unmute කරගන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් let me know, right? Otherwise you both consider as not in the class. කතා කරගන්න බැරුව මේ වුණොත් වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් කියන්න. මොකද that professionalism should be there. So then you know that if you are participating kind of a virtual meeting in the office, you can't say that it's unmuted, we don't have signal, or that's a basic answer. So then that is not good. So then if you are there, you have to speak out. So you have to raise your voice, right? So then we had draft financials. Our objective is to issue opinion, the audited financial statement, right? So these draft financial statements consisted with 3 elements, right? Account balances, disclosures, and transaction. So then we discussed this, right? This was consisted with these two. This was consisted with these two. These two came to the picture because of transactions, right? Because of transaction during the period. That was the basic understanding we have. So then as auditor, we need to audit these 3 elements. These 3 elements. So then we have a question. Can we audit 100%? Answer is can't. We can't audit 100%. So then what we have to do? We have to select significant items. We have to select significant items to audit, right? To do the selection, we did a step. what is that? We calculated the materiality levels, right? To do the selection.
Hello.
Yes. Athidia or in fast?
Yes, I am Atidia.
Okay. So what happened to you? I asked several times.
Sir, sir, I am logging a desktop computer. Then I have to my I'm connect my voice with my headphone my hand tree. Then sometime the hand tree should have voice.
Yeah, that's a technical issue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So then if I'm asking some questions further, you don't have, you can't answer, right?
Yes, sir. There is a technical some issues. Hello.
Right. We'll see. So Atidi answer. We'll see from in fast they are or not. Right. So then here we have a question. Can we audit 100%? Answer is can't, right? We can't audit 100%. It means, what it means to you? We can't audit 100%, we can't check 100% all the account balances, all the disclosures. We can't audit all the transactions. If we are auditing like that, we can give absolute opinion. We can't audit all the account balances, all the disclosures, and all the transactions. It means in account set we have different balances, right? What are the balances? Cash, electricity, pay this revenue, returns, gross margin, taxes, contingent liability, related party disclosure, earning per share. Likewise, we have different account balances and disclosures, cash inflows, cash outflows, investment activities. Likewise, we have different balances, right? Different disclosures. And those account disclosures came to the picture because of this transaction during the period, right? Transaction during the period. You have to know that these account balances and disclosures came because of transaction. That is the basic understanding you should have, right? Listen carefully. All account balances disclosures came to the picture in the financial statement because of transactions, right? That is the understanding you have. So then because of this issue, issue mean we can't test 100%. So then we have to select what are the significant items. So then what we have to do? We have to select significant accounts, significant disclosures, and significant transactions. Right? Significant items should be selected. So then what we have to do? We have to select significant account balances, disclosures, and transactions. Significant what do you mean by significant? කියන්න බලන්න ඒකට නම් ආන්සර් එකක් ඕන.
Material.
Yes, material. Material
Complex
what?
accounting issues. Complex accounting issues. Complex accounting issues. IFRS 9, something like that, person.
Yes, we can say, but that answer is very similar. Material to what? Material to stakeholder decisions. If it is so, it's significant, right? Significant account or significant disclosure. Significant account or significant disclosure. To select that, we have a tool used. What is that? We have already calculated. What are they? maturity levels. We have maturity levels, right? PM, PE, SAD. So then we have to use maturity level to select what? Significant accounts. Significant accounts. Significant accounts and significant disclosures, right? So then how we are going to select this? How we are going to select this? Basically, based on the maturity level, you can select that based on the materiality level. You can select. This is one criteria to select significant account and significant disclosures. So then based on maturity levels, what is the maturity level we are getting here? We have to base on PM or TE to select significant
PM.
account. Sorry?
PM, performance materiality.
PM or TE. That should be used TE because we have to select balances, no? Whatever the balance level, transaction level, decisions were taken by using TE, right? Tolerable error. Overall financial statement level decisions were taken based on PM. Keep in mind that. So then as we discuss maturity levels, TE means the transaction level maturity level, right? Accession level maturity level. So whatever the balance selection, significant account selection, all the things depend on the TE, right? So then based on maturity levels mean what? More than TE. More than TE balances, right? We consider as material, significant. So what else? So is this the only thing we need to consider or anything else we need to consider? What are the other factors considered to select significant accounts? There may be many, right? Yes. So the maturity level is a one element. So other than that, you have to consider uh, regular uh, regulation related balances, regulatory related balances, taxes, donations, right? So then those things should be considered. And then
Cash and
balances,
bank accounts.
yeah, cash and bank, very sensitive accounts, right? Balances related to uh, balances related to manual intervention, right? Liability balances,
Complex accounting issues.
yes, we can say that complex calculations, and debit credit, uh, the number of transactions are very high. Debit credit entities are very high. End balance may be very small amount, right? Those type of accounts. So then all those qualitative aspects should be considered for significant accounts and disclosure selection. And then the standard requirement. right? So what is this liability balances? What it means to you? Liability balances. Liability balances. In a balance sheet, we have two risks, right? Understatement risk and the overstatement risk. For asset, we have overstatement risk. Management trying to show more asset in the company. But for liabilities, we have understatement risk. So they are trying to understate liabilities, right? So then, if you are selecting significant accounts based on the TE, what you are going to do is you are selecting more than TE. Let's say TE maybe 500,000. Let's say your TE 500,000 LKR. You are selecting significant account balances more than 500,000, right? So then always you are trying to select the more than the monetary value. So then management trying to understate liabilities. So that you feel there's something, right? There's some contradiction with the expectation. As auditor, we are going to select more than 500,000 balances. Management try to understate liabilities. So they have a 650,000 creditor balance, 650,000 creditor balance. They want to reduce that. This is too high. What they are going to do is they want to issue some bogus checks, and they are trying to issue 175,000 some checks and we are putting entry. What's the double entry? Creditor debit, cash credit issued but not presented checks, right? So then now what's the balance in the balance sheet? 475. This is the balance, right? This is the balance. So now with comparing to TE, this is less than this. So then according to our significant account selection, this is not a significant account, because it's less than the TE, right? So then you can see management trying to understate it. As auditor, we are trying to select more than TE balances. The total purposes are contradict. So then what I'm telling is, if you are selecting liability related balances, don't depend on the monetary value. Always depend on the qualitative aspects of the balance, right? Don't depend on the monetary value. So then for liabilities, you can't say that you are selecting more than DE balances. If it is so, you are not addressing the understatement risk. Did you get my point, or do I need to repeat it? එක තේරුණාද? ඒක හොඳට තේරෙන්න ඕනේ.
Yes, sir.
Right. කොහොමද මේනකා තේරුණාද? මදුෂානි?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Others? කවුද තව ඉන්නේ?
Yes, sir. Clear. Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Samudura Farhan, how about you?
Clear, sir. It's clear.
Right.
Clear now.
Okay, good. So then, basically my request is, once you are doing your significant accounts and disclosure selection, keep in mind that you don't depend on the numbers. Number is a critical aspect. Consider that as the basic criteria. Other than that, qualitative aspect should be evaluated and select your significant account and significant disclosure. So I discussed that, right? My experience relating to one of an insurance company related to donation. Am I discussed with you all?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Right. So then I can recall my memory. So the practical experience, it was happened like 2014, 2014, yes, 2014. I did a leading insurance company audit. Their materiality level with comparing to TE, it was 2 million. 2 million, imagine. It was 2 million. T is the 2 million. So then once you are selecting significant accounts, more than TE balances you are selecting, right? Yes. So then I completed the audit. I completed all the documentation and I archived that. So insurance company year end is a December year end. So after the this annual report and all, I archived the file. So after publishing annual report in the Colombo Stock Exchange, and they have submitted that to the regulator as well. So the regulator directly writing to me is telling that you know that profit after the after the income statement, there's a note that so the profit after tax was derived after deducting these expenses. So there's a disclosure, right? According to that disclosure, there's a balance for donations. Donations like 230,000 LKR, right? LKR donations. So then how about this? With comparing to this is, you can see that this is very immaterial, right? Immaterial. With comparing to 2 million, 230 is insignificant, right? And then regulator directly writing to me and asking, so then as an insurance company, by using insurance funds, they can't do donations. So under this disclosure, there's a balance 230,000. So that we want to know what is the content of this balance, how you have done audit procedures, and is that a violation, right? So they are directly writing to me and ask. So then I can't remember what we have done. So what I did was I took my audit file and I checked this with the section, expense section. So then it was directly indexed from the trial balance and we have not done any procedure. We have not selected this as a significant account. So then I'm helpless at that time. So then I went back to the client place and I requested the journal, this the GL breakup for this. Finally, I checked the evidence for these GL transactions. I understood that at the year end, once they are reconciling bank reconciliation, some of the reconciliation items were debited to here. Some of the bank charges and some of the other charges were debited to here, not the donations. Right? So then I came back and I write back to regulator. So then I didn't say that according to my audit file. So I can't say it like that because in my audit file it is not audited, right? So then according to the understanding and the further procedures we have followed, this account balance consisted with bank charges were recorded erroneously to this balance. This should be corrected. That was my communication. So then my point is what? So as a regulator, donation is a significant balance. Rather considering the value of the balance, donation, if there's a donation without considering a value, it's a significant balance. Why? Always the significant word depends on what? Stakeholders' decisions. So then regulator, IRCSL. IRCSL is a key stakeholder, right? Key stakeholder. So for their perspective, if there's a donation balance, as auditor, it is maybe 100,000 or 50,000, we have to select that as a significant account. Why? It is sensitive with their decisions. If you are based on the monetary value, only the monetary value to select significant accounts, you will, the stuck in the middle, or you will, get affected like me. So after the audit, so it will, the expand your audit risk, right? So once you are, so my message is, once you are doing your significant account and significant disclosure selection, you have to consider other qualitative aspects as well, right? Keep in mind that. So then accordingly, you can select what are the significant account balances and significant disclosures, right? So then as we discussed, let's say PPE cost, let's say land cost, then motor cost.
So can you increase the font size, please?
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Can you see this? Huh?
Can you increase the font size? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So the land cost, motor vehicle cost, depreciation, so then we have balances, right? Let's say salaries, EPF, ETF, gratuity payment, and bonuses, food revenue, so likewise, we have a list of significant accounts and balances. Not only here you can see different balances are there. Revenue, not only this, inventory, right? What else? Trade receivable, right? We have separate balances. So then you have cost balances, P&L balances, right? We can say cash inflow from investment activities. This item from cash flow statement. So then basically what we are doing here, we have a set of financial statement, draft financial statement, So then that was consisted with disclosures and account balances. Here we selected what are the significant accounts and significant disclosures to audit. Why we did it? We don't want to do audit for each and every item. Insignificant items can be eliminated. We don't want to do a certificate. We just want to give opinion. Because of that, we are supposed to select only significant accounts and significant disclosures only, right? For that, we have selected. These are the critical balances. So then for these things, definitely we put taxes, donations, regulatory related things, VAT. All those things should be added. Right? So then we have a list of significant accounts and significant disclosures now. For the audit, we need to check, we need to verify these balances only. So then this step done. Significant accounts and disclosure selection. Right. Hope you are clear. So now we started audit with LOE. We have audit team, and then we had a kind of a basic business understanding, understand the business and those things. And we received the draft financial statements, and we calculated the maturity level based on different bases, right? And based on that materiality level, we have 3 different levels of materialities. Based on TE and other factors, we do select what are the significant accounts and significant disclosures for audit purpose. Now we know what are the balances we are supposed to audit. Are you clear about this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then, I'm moving forward. Uh, you know that this balances, let's say, land cost 20 million, let's say 30 million, right? Motor vehicle cost 2.5 million. So then likewise, we have balances. As I said last week, we have to do the risk assessment. To which level? We have to do the risk assessment to the which level? Accession level, right? Accession level. What do you mean by that?
Overall financial statement.
No, not the accession, overall financial statement level. See this? We have
Completeness valuations.
yes. We have land cost, right? We have land cost. This cost was given by the management. They have signed the financial statements, and then this was distributed to the stakeholders. They can see this balance. So then they want to, it's material for their decisions. What they are checking are there's audit opinion. This was audited. So then I am very comfortable with this 30 million. This 30 million, right? So then this is relevant for their decisions basically. This 30 million. So then what is the risk, balance level risk? Whether this 30 million correct or not?
Whether they have done the valuation correctly or not.
Very correct, yes. Whether this 30 million is correct or not. So as auditor, this is a risk. So then that risk, we can calculate that risk for this balance level. We are not, not stop. We are not ending with the balance level. We are not asking. We are asking this balance is correct or not. It means we have set of assertions, right? Valuation, and then existence, right, and obligation, completeness. ඊට පස්සේ මොකක්ද right and obligation, presentation and disclosure, presentation and disclosure, right? So then we have set of assertions. So then to one balance we have 5 assertions. We do the risk assessment, combine risk assessment to the, not to the balance level but to the assertion level. So then we evaluate the inherent risk about valuation, control risk about valuation, right? Existence. Likewise, we do the risk assessment to the assertion level, not the balance level, not the financial statement level, right? We go up until the assertion level. We are not asking, as a flat rate, is that balance sheet is correct or not? Can we give answer for that? We have a doubt, we have a risk. Balance sheet mean, in other words, statement of financial position, right? So I'm asking question. Yes, we have this audited financial statement. So are we comfortable with the financial position? It means balance sheet is correct or not? Is a kind of a question overall financial statement level, right? So then there's a risk whether balance sheet is correct or not, financial statement position is correct or not. For that, we need to evaluate each and every balance, right? Not only the balance, not only the balance level, not only the financial statement level, we are going up until the assertion level. We are taking the land cost valuation is correct, the risk about the valuation, existence is correct, right and obligation, completeness, presentation and disclosure. So then our risk assessment should be address the assertion level, not the balance level, not the financial statement level. As auditor, we have to do our risk assessment upon, so that we have to, uh, go to the assertion level to do the risk assessment, right? Keep in mind that. So that was discussed last week, and I shared some of the, document with you via the group, right? To show that assertion level risk assessment practical working. Have I shared with you all?
No,
I
sir.
shared one document with
No,
you
sir.
all. No?
No.
Sure.
No.
Yes.
Give me a second. Sorry, I was disconnected. Right. So then you have that working right now. I shared that via the WhatsApp group. So then you can see.
Yes, sir, we got it.
Yeah,
we got it.
Practical risk assessment working. So it was analyze inherent risk and control risk. We have not limited to the balance level. We have done the assessment to the accession level. You can see the right hand side, each and every disclosure and significant accounts. And accession level, we have done the inherent risk assessment, right? Keep in mind. Right. I'm going to delete this.
Sir, what is mean by sir testing threshold mean?
Yeah, so then I will come to that level. Still, we are not in that level. So then I will discuss that. That is the scope, right? That is the scope we have to use for further audit procedures, for substantive procedures. So then, after doing our combined risk assessment, we have to decide our scope. So then that was the percentage assigned for that area based on this significant the combined risk assessment. That will be discussed later. Still keep your understanding to we have draft financials. We selected significant accounts and disclosure. Now we are going to do inherent risk assessment and the control risk assessment, right? For accession level.
Okay, sir. Clear.
Right. So then what we are going to do is next step. Next step is you have to identify significant class of transactions. What is the next step? What's significant class of transactions? Identification of Scots. What it means to you? Identification of Scots. Now you can see we had draft financial statement. We had 3 elements to test. We had 3 elements to test. What are they? Account balances and disclosures. From account balances and disclosures, we selected significant accounts and significant disclosures. We have done, right? For that, what we have used, these are the criteria we used. Right? We have selected here now. There's a list. There's a list, right? So then you can see there's another item we need to test as auditor. What is that? That is transactions, right? So then we have to plan for that transactions as well. So as we said, the first day as auditor, we have to focus about these 3 elements: account balances, disclosures, and transactions. So now we have selected significant accounts and disclosures. Now we are focusing about transactions. Transactions. Transactions, right? How about these transactions? Can you select significant transactions? For you all, in the balance sheet and P&L and cash flow and equity statement and disclosures, we have account balances and disclosures, very countable number, right? We can count those things. We can one by one, we can evaluate and we can select what are the significant things. So we can, count down fingers and we can identify what are the significant account balances and disclosures. How about the transactions? Can we do that same activity for transaction to identify significant transactions? Is that practical?
Can't.
So imagine we can't. Why? In a year, how many transactions maybe happen? Millions of transactions, right? So imagine it's a commercial bank. So then 360, 24 into 7 into 365, we have millions of transactions. Through ATM machines, to cargos, food cities, everywhere we have transactions, right? So then how can we, identify significant transactions? So there's a difficulty, right? There's a difficulty. So then what we have to do then? What we have to do? If we have millions of items to take a decision, what we have to do?
Select a sample.
Select a sample. ඊට කලින් මොකක්ද කරන්න? ඔයා හිතන්න ඔයාට අඹ විකුණන්න තියෙනවා. අඹ විකුණන්න තියෙනවා. අඹ විකුණනකොට ඔයා කොහොමද අඹ විකුණන්නේ? අඹ ගෙඩියෙන් ගෙඩිය විකුණනවද? මේක මේ ගාන. මේක මේ ගාන. එහෙම විකුණනවද? කොහොමද විකුණන්නේ?
significance areas ටික pick කරලා sample performance.
අන්න හරි. ඒ කියන්නේ areas ටික evaluate කරලා අපි ගොඩවල් වලට ගහ ගන්නවා මේ ටික මුලින්ම. නැතුව විකුණන්න බෑ මේක. ඒ කියන්නේ එක වගේ අඹ එක ගොඩකට ගහනවා. නේද? ටිකක් ඉදිච්ච වගේ අඹ එක ගොඩකට දානවා. තව මේ types තියෙනවනේ අඹ වර්ග. මොනවද අඹ වර්ග? තියෙනවා මේ ජැෆ්නා කියලා තියෙනවා අඹ. ඊට පස්සේ කොහු අඹ කියලා තියෙනවානේ. සීනි අඹ කියලා තියෙනවා. ගොඩක් තියෙනවා types. හර්ථ කොළඹන් තියෙනවා. තව තියෙනවා අර yellow color එකක් තියෙන්නේ මොනවද? මොනවද මේකට කියන්නේ? රස අඹ එකක් තියෙනවා.
මී අඹ.
මී අඹ. right. අඹ types තියෙනවා. දැන් අඹ types ඇතුලේ types තියෙනවා. ඇතුලේ types මොනවද? ඒක ඉදිලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. තව උයන්න පුළුවන් අඹ තියෙන්න පුළුවන් නේද? එතකොට මේ තව සතියකින් විතර දෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒවා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. right. so then අපි ඕ ගොඩ ගහලා කිව්වොත් මේ ගොඩ 100යි. මේ ගොඩෙන් කිලෝ 100යි. මේක කිලෝ 150යි. එහෙම තමයි විකුණන්නේ. ගොඩාක් තියෙනකොට. දැන් අපි ගොඩාක් transaction තියෙනවා. දැන් මේක අපිට මේක විසඳ ගන්න බෑ. මේ transaction set එක නිසා තමයි we are having significant accounts and disclosure here. So then as auditor we have to audit this. So then what we have to do is we have a list of transaction based on the characteristics of the transaction. What we are going to do is we are going to identify classes of transactions. Classes of transactions. So then we have millions of transactions now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, so I can't put here the transactions here. Millions of transactions. So then as example, what we can put here. Example transaction. Paid salary.
Sir, are they purchases, receipts, sales?
Yeah, purchases, receipt, sales. Today we sales to X. So that cash sales, returns, number. So the returns from the down south returns, hill country returns, different transactions. So then as example, I am going to put here some of the transactions, right? Paid salaries and then paid EPF and ETF, right? And then paid gratuity, right? So then purchase a motor vehicle. Depreciation of lands, no? Land depreciation කරන්නේ නැහැ නේ. Depreciation for motor vehicle. So likewise, you know that in the grade 2 question, put in transaction to the accounting equation, right? The capital this month, drawing this, and likewise we had transaction, and we need to put to the accounting equation the capital plus liability equal to this capital plus liability equal to asset, right? So to that, put in that equation, we have a list of transactions. Likewise, we can have different transactions during the period, right?
So
Yes.
So can't we select the transactions which are related to the account balances we have selected for the audit?
Yeah,
Only those
that's the thing.
transactions.
That is the thing we are going to do now. So then, step by step, we are going. We have selected what are the accounts we selected significant accounts, and then we should know what are the transactions which impact to the significant accounts and significant balances. Those are the list, right? So then we need to audit that now. So then what we are going to do? We are going to list of transaction here. First, we have list of transaction. List of transaction list is there now. List is there. So then likewise, so that I have written 9 transactions. This 9 can be 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 1 million transaction, right? 1 million transaction. So then as auditor, what we have to do? As auditor, this list going to be identify classes of transactions. Identify the classes of transactions then. So classes, to identify classes, what we have to do? To identify classes, we need to identify the similarities of the transactions, right? The SAB එකෙත් එහෙම නේ. SAB එකේ ඔයාලට තනි තනියෙන් ගන්නවද? නෑ. ඉස්කෝලේ එක තනි තනියෙන් ගන්නවද ළමයින්ට නෑ. grade 1 ළමයි, 2 ළමයි, O levels, scholarship exam, and then art students, commerce, and then biology. So we have different classes, right? Different classes. So how they have done this classification? Based on the marks, based on the age, based on the gender, right? Based on similar characteristic, right? O level ළමයිතුයි A level, sorry, grade 5 ළමයිතුයි O level ළමයිතුයි එකට දාලා ගන්නවද නැහැ. එහෙම කරන්නේ. කොහොමද class කරලා තියෙන්නේ? Based on the age, right? Based on the knowledge, based on the marks. If you want to select to commerce or something maths, you need to score more than 50 for maths, right? Similar characteristics. So then according to that, as auditor, we need to identify classes of transaction based on the similar characteristics of the transactions. So then you can say paid salaries, paid EPF, paid gratuity. You can see some similarity, right? It's relating to payments to staff, salary related, employee related things, right? First 3. So then what we can do? What we can do is we can identify that as a separate class. What we can do is we can identify that as a separate class. What is that class? We can say that as payroll. 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 How about this class?
Fixed asset.
We can say PP&E, fixed asset. Yes. This is
Revenue.
revenue. Revenue, sales. Correct. Revenue. So then we may have this type of, we can say that purchases, right? So then
So
we
cost
have,
of sales. It is a cost
yeah,
of sales, no?
we can say that purchases or cost of sales. That's okay. That's up to you to decide, right? Cost of sales. Cost of sales, right? So then here we have classes, right? Set of classes. Set of classes are there. So then how did we do these classes? Based on the similar characteristics. But based on your experience and knowledge and the requirement, you can identify many classes, right? So then we can identify PP&E, purchases and disposal one class, depreciation and revaluation another class. That depends on your requirement. So class identification depends on the manager requirement, depends on the company nature, that vary, right? So then similar characteristic may be decided by the person who are doing that, right? So then after identifying all the classes, again we have a question. What is that question? Do we need to audit all the classes? All the classes. Here we have a question. Do we need to audit all the classes? Answer is no. We no need to do. We no need to audit. We no need to understand all the classes. So what we have to do then? We have to identify what we have to identify. What's the step we are in? Scots.
Significant class of transactions.
Significant class of transactions. We need to identify. Answer is it's required to identify. It's required to identify the significant class of transactions, right? From this, we should identify what are the significant class of transactions. Significant class of insignificant classes we can eliminate, right? So then how we are going to identify significant classes? Significant classes. Sometimes all the classes may be significant. For a school, for sub campus, all the badges are significant for a school or එකේ ඉන්නේ මේ වැඩ බැරි ළමයි. මේ කියන්නේ ගණන් වලට ස්කෝර් කරපු නැති ළමයි තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඒක නිග්ලෙක්ට් කරලා දාලා තියෙනවා. උගන්වන්නෙම නැහැ, ටීචර්ලා යන්නෙත් නැහැ. සිග්නිෆිකන්ට් නැහැ ස්කෝරේට ඒක. එහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මේ වගේ social science එකක් තියෙද්දි all classes are significant. But in audit perspective, we have many classes, but some of the classes significant, some of the classes insignificant. So then you need to identify significant classes of transactions. So then I am asking a question. How many significant class of transactions, significant classes should we identify for audit, basic audit? Is that 4, 5, 6, 7? How many? We can't say, right? It depends. It depends on the company, depends on the manager, depends on the industry, it depends on the year, right? It will vary. So, but there's a ground rule that we need to comply with. What is that? After identification of Scots, all the significant accounts should be represented. All the significant accounts should be represented. So then here we have not only all the significant accounts and disclosures should be represented. Why? Because these significant accounts and disclosures are in the financial statement. So that is the area we are going to audit. So the why we are auditing transaction to verify these account balances and disclosures. So then if we have selected significant accounts and disclosures, that should be represent the classes identified. That's basic, right? So then what we are going to do now? We are going to do kind of a grade 5 work, grade 2 work. Land cost, that will be going to this, right? Motor vehicle cost here and depreciation here. Furniture and fittings here. So then salaries, EPF, EDF, gratuity bonus here. All are here. Right. Food revenue, room revenue. So then you can put here. Right. So then we have identified classes, significant classes identified, and linked with the significant accounts and disclosure. So what is the basic ground rule I mentioned? After identifying Scots, significant class of transactions, all the significant accounts and disclosure should be covered. Each and every disclosure, we have to have a tax process, right? The regulatory expenses process, related party transaction process. So all those things are there, right? So then, what is the basic ground rule to identify Scots? ඔයාගෙන් අහනවා Scots කීයක් identify කරගන්න ඕනද කියලා. You are telling that. So then Scot identification depends on the company and depends on the experience and the requirement of the audit and industry. Likewise, you can say. But after identifying all the Scots, what's the rule? All the significant account and significant disclosures should be represented. All the significant accounts and disclosures should be represented. Why? So the imagine this should be tested. This should be tested. So these balances came because of these transactions. So then we need to put at least one significant account to one class, right? Some of the significant accounts may represent 2 classes, 3 classes. That's obvious, right? What it means to you, let's say we have a cash receipt process, cash receipt or cash payment process, separate process, cash payments. That cash payment process will link with cash and cash balance, right? Cash balance. So then this will link with cash balance, and then all the taxes should be paid. It will link with the cash payment, right? And the related party disclosures, trade receivables, not trade receivables, inventory purchases will link, and then salary, EPF, ETF, again those are payments. This will link with this cash payment, right? Likewise, cash payment process will link with other significant accounts. So then basic understanding should be one significant account or one significant disclosure can link with 2 or 3 more than that scores. That understanding should be there, right? So then you can understand after telling this why we have to do that. That answer will be developed after explaining this. So after completing Scott identification, next step is what? We did Scott identification. Now it's completed. Scott identification completed. Now you can see once we are getting this financial statement, we have account balances and disclosures and transactions. Now we have selected what are the significant accounts, significant balance disclosures, and significant class of transactions. Right? All the significant things we have summarized here. Right? What are the significant things? So then our understanding should be all the significant accounts and significant disclosures should be linked with identified significant class of transactions. That should be interlinked because we are checking transaction to verify the account balances and disclosures. That is a basic understanding, right? Give me a second. Right. Have to get in it. Right. Okay. So what is the next step? Next step is we are going to do the walkthrough. Right? Now we are going to do a walkthrough. So then now you can understand what's a walkthrough. So then I have given a definition. What is that? What do you mean by walkthrough? Walkthrough is done by auditor to check the design and implementation effectiveness of the controls, right? Design and so then we are doing a walkthrough. Walkthrough means for each and every Scott, each and every Scott, each and every identified Scott should be covered through a walkthrough test, right? Each and every Scott should be covered through a walkthrough test, right? So it means after completing walkthroughs, whatever the Scots we identified, we are supposed to complete a walkthrough test. Walkthrough test means again design and implementation effectiveness of related controls, right? Should be tested. So then after completing a walkthrough, what will be the answer? What will be the answer? What's the answer?
Answer will be the company's developer implemented design and implemented a control or not.
Exactly. There will be two answers, right? The walkthrough results, you can see walkthrough results. It may be reliant control or not reliant control. Reliant control or not reliant control of what? Design and implementation. You correctly said. Design and implementation. Implementation. Design and implementation reliant control or not reliant control. Right? Then again, after completing all the walkthroughs, you have a comfort now. Why? You have done the walkthrough for all the Scots. Scots were represented all significant accounts and significant disclosures. What's the ground rule? Each and every significant account and significant disclosure at least should represent at least one Scot. So then each and every Scot should be covered through a walkthrough. So then basically after completing walkthrough, as auditor, you should know how these balances, these balances came through a transaction process. You aware with the design and implementation effectiveness of the control relating to these significant accounts and disclosures. You have the basic understanding as auditor. Without having that understanding, you can't audit, right? So then at the review stage, I have seen some of the balances in the balance sheet or P&L. So the once you are going to that balance, it's a significant balance. It's a significant balance. It's a kind of a critical balance. Once you are asking from a particular manager, they don't know. They don't know about the balance. So then what they are doing is they are telling that this will cover some process. They can't identify what is the Scott it represent. It means they don't know how that balance came to the balance sheet. How that, what's the double entry related to that? So then as auditor, what's the request is, once you are finalizing your walkthrough test, obviously you are covering all the Scots and it will cover all the significant accounts and significant disclosures. Right? So then Scots, similar words, what are they? Some of the terminologies are there. It may be systems. systems, right? Processes. දැන් ඔයාගෙන් අහන ඔඩිට් කරගෙන යනකොට මොන ස්ටේජ් එකේද ඉන්නේ කියලා. ඔයා කියන මේ දවස්වල සිස්ටම් කරන්න කියලා. මොකක්ද මේ සිස්ටම් කරන්න කියන්නේ? මොකක්ද? ස්කොට් අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරගෙන වෝක් through කරන ගමන් ඉන්නේ කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. එතකොට ස්කොට්ස් systems process mean similar concept. You have to identify systems. How many systems you have identified in that company? So if it is a manufacturing company, it may be 5-6 systems, right? Processors, Scots. If it is a bank, it may be 20-25 Scots, processors. Bank එක processors 25ක් විතර තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Manufacturing company එක hotel එකක processors 6යි 7යි 8යි තියෙන්නේ. It depends, right? ඇයි bank එක වැඩි? It's complex, right? එයාට ATM වෙනම තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ savings account opening, FD, minor accounts, pawning, leasing, HP, different processes are there. So then different Scots, right? So the Scots, processes, systems කියන්නේ same meaning, right? For each and every system, each and every process, each and every significant Scot, each and every Scot, definitely you have to do a walkthrough test. Walkthrough test එකක් කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා අපි බලමු. ඒක වෙනම මම share කරන්න document එකක්. So then basically we don't have a kind of a format to do a walkthrough, right? Walkthrough mean what? We are going through the overall process and understanding the controls and related risk, and we are identifying the procedure manuals and process structure. We are basically identifying with the control plus risk and the design and the implementation, whether we have that adequate resources and they have implemented. So that will be tested through a walkthrough test, right? So after completing a walkthrough, you should have a kind of a control mapping. Control map should be there, right? Control map should be there. Control map. So I will share a control map with you all so that you can go through that. So here and there, I'm agreeing to share with you some documents. Keep remember to request for me. Otherwise, I will forget out to share with you all. So then once I'm sharing, definitely I'm removing this confidential data. So then you can refer those things for your learning purpose, right? But I agreed to share a control map. Control map means once you are doing your walkthrough, you identify what are the risks, establish controls, and design and implementation effectiveness, right? Design and implementation effectiveness. Right. I hope this is clear. Now we are in walkthrough stage. Now we completed the walkthrough. So then walkthrough is the key element, key resource to complete the combined risk assessment, right? Next step is what? Combined risk assessment, CRA. Combined risk assessment. Combined risk assessment consists with inherent risk, loss, and the control risk. Right? So then control risk and inherent risk, giving answer to accumulation we can consider as a combined risk assessment, right? So the inherent risk, what do you mean by inherent risk? So then inherent risk means the risk we have at the zero control levels. If we imagine as a, if you imagine that controls are zero, that inherent risk may be yes. Sorry. Inherent risk mean inherently what are the risk limitations in your processes, account balances, right? So the basically inherent risk will be evaluated and identified with your experience and the understanding of the processes, right? So then we no need to do kind of a control study or something like that. Inherently, that area is a risky area. So it means zero level controls. We are not thinking about controls. We are not thinking about controls. We are assuming about internal inherent risk. So the control, before we are implementing controls, what are the risks we have? What are the risks? Inherent risk. To mitigate inherent risk, we are putting controls in the process. That was the area we tested under walkthrough test. So then for CRA, how we are going to get your control risk conclusion from walkthrough? From walkthrough test, you are getting your control risk. So then the inherent risk. Inherent risk may be higher or lower. Right? So the different CRA may be there. Minimal. High. Okay. Right. Sorry, I missed the connection. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Right. So I about this inherent risk. Related to inherent risk, it's purely the judgment, right? From the auditor's experience and the understanding and the, industry level understanding, the company level understanding, you can evaluate inherent risk relating to the balance specific inherent risk, industry specific inherent risk, and company specific inherent risk, right? So accordingly, you can feel this. You can feel this. For control risk, you are getting information from the walkthrough test. So then you have a conclusion about rely or not rely. Accordingly, we may have 4 categories of combined risk. It may be minimal, low, moderate, or high. So how about this? It's a serious concern, right? What is that? Inherent risk is higher. Inherent risk is higher. And then control risk, according to the walkthrough test, what's your conclusion? Not rely on control. What it means to you? Design and implementation not effective, right? So then combined risk is high. So then how about this situation? Very risky, right? Inherent risk also high. Control risk also high. What's the example? Which is to which stage, to what extent we are doing this as an activity? To accession level, we have to do this activity, right? So let's say we have a cash balance. We have a cash balance. We have a cash balance 10,000 here. Cash balance 10,000, right? And we have accessions. This type of accessions. And see, inherent risk lower, lower, lower. Inherent risk higher for existence. Can you see this? So then control risk, here rely on control. Let's say not rely on control. So then it automatically we say CR is high. It means existence is a inherently high area because cash. So then existence is really high. That's why we are putting lockers, dual controls, and putting uh, uh, putting into the bank accounts. We are not keeping cash in the location. We are getting insurance policies for money in transit. Likewise, we have separate controls for existence of cash. So if we don't have any controls designed or implemented, we consider that as not reliant control. Inherent risk always high, and then the combined risk is high, right? Combined risk is high. So likewise, we have to perform this activity, control risk and inherent risk evaluation to the accession level of what? Significant accounts and significant disclosures. For that, control definition will be taken from the walkthrough test. Walkthrough will be done each and every Scots, right? Each and every Scots. So then, now we have done with the combined risk assessment. So then we need to perform combined risk assessment for each and every significant account and significant disclosure to the accession level. So that type of working I shared with you. That's a real combined risk assessment working which was done for real audit. I shared with you all. You can go through that, and now you all can read that the columns, right? Inherent risk. So I can open that. See, give me a second. here we have, right? Here we have account balance, disclosures. Disclosures we have. So then here you can see cash and cash equivalents, a significant account. We have done the accession wise evaluation, right? And then here we have the combined risk. Accordingly, we have given testing threshold. Testing threshold. This will be discussed later. Don't think about this testing threshold, right? So then see, what if you are changing this, we'll download this one. Right. You all can see the right screen. Think you are changing this area. Let's say cash balance. You all can see, right? You all can see cash balance. We have accessions, this inherent risk. As I said, existence higher, see? Existence higher. But rely. According to the walkthrough test, it's rely, right? It's rely. Because of that, this is the scope. So if you are putting not rely, let's put not rely, you can see changes, right? Focus on this. Focus on this. Focus on this. Here we have 50 and 15, right? 50 and 15. The number, right? Scope. Testing threshold. So before that, we are getting this 50 and 15 from TE because this is in transaction level for testing. Let's say for the time being, you can imagine to select samples to identify significant accounts. We are getting this percentage. We are calculating that from the TE. So then here we have testing threshold. We have not mentioned from the TE, but we have to mention that it's from the TE, right? It's from the TE. So what is the high scope? What is the high scope? 15 or 50? 15 is the high scope, right? 50 is a very less scope. 75 more than 50, very less scope. I hope it's clear. So then here you can see 15 for liability and expenses. Liability and expenses, right? Asset and income. Asset and income. We have 50 because asset and income always we are trying to overstate. Income and expenses and liabilities we are going to understate it. That's why we are having two different threshold, right? Liabilities and expenses we have lesser one. Lesser one mean higher scope, right? So I'm going to change this reliant control to not reliant control. So you can see the impact, right? Here this should be changed, but it is not working. I will check that, right? Once you are changing this percentages should be changed, right? So if you are putting here not rely, this should be high. Should be high. Right? So the after putting high, you can see this 50 change to 10. So then 15 change to 5. Can you see this? 50 change to 10, 5 change, 15 change to 5. Because we changed the control rely definition not rely. So then existence overall combined risk is high. This is the scope. So then this activity should be done for each and every significant account and disclosure. So then you can see that VAT, deferred tax, other liabilities, shareholder funds. So then all the significant accounts and disclosures are there. I hope that is clear about combined risk assessment and what's the input from the walkthrough to that, right? So then any question, any doubts, you all can share with me. මොන හරි තියෙනවද ප්‍රශ්න? තියෙනවා නම් කියන්න. තේරුම් නැති දේවල් මේක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම තේරෙන්න ඕන. තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් next කියන්නේ next 2 months වගේ lectures ආවේ නැති වුණාට කමක් නැහැ. තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් දැන් අහන්න සර් මට මේක තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. සර් walk through තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. සර් Scott තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. Significant accounts තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. So then you have to tell me and then I'll repeat myself. Then you can understand or you can reconfirm your understanding, right? කොහොමද ඔයාලට තේරෙනවද? සොයිසා තේරුණාද?
Yes, sir.
Sumadura. Yes. What happened? තේරුණාද? Farhan in fast නම් තාම ඉන්නවා හැබැයි මුකුත් respond එකක් නැහැ.
තේරුණා.
Yes, sir. තේරුණා, sir.
Okay, right. Madhusani.
තේරුණා sir.
Right. So then now we are moving to moving to conclude planning and risk assessment. Almost now risk assessment done, right? Risk assessment to accession level for each and every significant account and disclosure. So then planning and risk assessment according to the identified risk. Now what we have to do? We have to plan audit procedures. We have to plan audit procedures by addressing the accession level assessed combined risk, right? Now we are going to do that. Before that, if anything you need to clarify, reconfirm, you need to clarify that. Otherwise, it's really difficult to understand and get clear at the mid. Because from today and next week onwards, we are starting the execution. Execution mean always I am discussing about these conclusions, right? So then to have that profound, yes.
Yeah. So, you shared in PDF version of that RRM calculation. it would be more preferred to share the Excel sheet, then we can identify the calculation, how it's derived.
So this calculation I have already shared, right?
Yeah, it's in the PDF version, the Excel sheet, we can get the idea how it's calculated.
Okay. I will share that Excel version. So then you can understand what is this formula and those things you can identify. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sir,
I will share this.
sir,
These are real working, right? Yes.
so let's say for expense there are four assertions. Then for one it is high and for others it is low. So which one? What is the conclusion? The CRA. Which one we should select? Like out of the four.
It's a good question, right? It's a good question. Yes. Let's say we can get this one. We can get this one. Not the expenses. We have classic example here. Final CRA for completeness minimal, existence high, other minimal, right? So then my suggestion is, exact suggestion is, consider for whatever the procedures you are going to do related to existence, use CRA high and related threshold for sample selection, right? So whatever the test step, whatever the audit procedure for ensure the valuation, completeness and right hand obligation, use minimal CRA for testing threshold. That is the most effective way, right?
Okay, sir.
Practical sense, if I am talking, we can consider for cash and bank, combined risk is high. So then whatever the assertion you are using high combined risk. So then obviously this assertion will be covered in a higher rate. That can be used, but it's not effective. But my request is assertion level CRA should be used for your testing thresholds. Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Right. I'm going to do the next step.
Sir,
But
another question, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
you explain about us that walkthrough testing. Okay. So can you elaborate in like I said, how can we do in a practically, like when come to PPE, how we are going to do the walkthrough test?
Yes, very good question. So then for that, definitely I will share with you some of the walkthrough test documents, right?
Yeah. At least then we can engage in the discussion in a more practical manner than theoretical manner. It's going like a more theoretical.
Correct.
Yeah.
Actually, for walkthrough, we can't give kind of a framework, like not like the CRA, we have a format and right? Walkthrough mean, company to company very different. If we are doing a walkthrough in a inventory management system or inventory management system in the meat manufacturing company to elephant house to hardware to a garment, PPE process to inventory handling and purchases process totally different. Controls are different, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to have like a general understanding, but we can just think about one company and whatever discussion you are just going on, sir, like a theoretical discussion, we can just link to one company and it will go ahead. Then we can practically link the stuff. That's what I'm just thinking.
Yes. Very good comment and request. Very reasonable request. I can divide that to some parts, right? Once you are doing a walkthrough, let's say first discussion, right?
Okay.
First discussion, and then flow chart. And then documentation.
Okay.
Documentation. And then control mapping. So these, for me, these are the key steps we can do, right? First, what you have to do, actually, before that, we'll say background test. Background test. How can do that? We can go through the last year file and we can go through the board minutes and given procedure manuals, and we can do background test with that understanding. So suppose you are going to discuss about cash payment process. Cash payment process. Uh, you understood that they have different cash payments like fund transfers, check payments, cash in hand payments. Different transactions are there. So then they are normally using 3 bank accounts. They are using checkbooks. If you have a fund transfer, for directors have that access. Likewise, you have kind of a background understanding, right? Then what you are going to do is you are going to have a discussion with the finance director or CFO or finance manager. So with that understanding, you are asking question. So then according to my, you can't, you can't like do the discussion as a kind of a layman, right? You have to show that you have done some homework and you have a basic understanding. You can start. So according to the board minutes and the last year process documentation, I went through that. According to that, you have this main 3 accounts and you have fund transfers and like this and that. So then what you're going to do is you have to document that. If there are any change, can you elaborate that to us? Right? Can you elaborate us that change or something like that? So likewise, you can ask, right? So then what you can do is you can kind of draw a chart, the process, what are the controls, and you can draw kind of a flow chart, right? Flow chart. I will show that later. Flow chart, and so then that flow chart can be described each and every section, kind of a documentation. You can put a note and you can describe, right? Let's see if we have that example in my mailbox. I'll share with you that. For now, thank you, sir. I don't have, so that I will share. So then after that flow chart understanding, so then we can have kind of a control map. Control mapping, what are the controls, what are the uh, available risk, and we have kind of a control mapping. We can say control analytical form or control map. So then we through this control map, you can identify what are the critical controls. Likewise, you can have a proper understanding of implementation and design effectiveness of the controls. So that is the basic process. This basic process may be vary with the company to company, system to system, right? So that may be vary. Give me a second. I may have a video to show you all. Type of we'll see whether we have that or not. So as I discussed, according to the understanding you took from my discussion, you can hear this video and understand what I discuss, and you can cross-check a kind of a real scenario. Give me a second. Can you all hear the video?
No, sir.
No. How about now?
Still no.
How about now?
We can't hear video sound, sir.
Right. Wait. Anyone who know that once we are sharing a video to Teams with a audio video clip, we have an option, but I'm using the web app. I can't see this option actually. How about now? Is that clear?
Still we can't hear, sir.
Okay. Okay. We'll discuss. I will share that later. So that we'll discuss basic thing quickly, and we'll share with you again. So what I want to mention is, now we have done with the walkthrough. I will share some further documents and I will guide you to how to do a walkthrough. So the main purpose was the walkthrough. I want to highlight that design and implementation of the control, right? So then you know that for one control, we have 3 stages: design, implementation, and operation. From that, we have already completed 2, right? 2 things. We have already completed 2 areas. That is clear. Two areas like this. Design, implementation covered, right? Operation is the matter. This is covered through TOC. This is optional, right? Optional. Optional. Have you put a tick mark for this optional word, star mark? Previously, I highlighted that. Remember that this is optional. Put a star mark here. Right? Now you are going to understand what it is, right? Okay. You did walkthrough test, right? You did walkthrough test. You have now conclusion. Reliant control and not reliant control. 2. Right? So then, not reliant control. Not reliant control. It means, what is the meaning of not reliant control? According to your walkthrough results, your design and implementation is not effective. Your design may be, or both are not effective. බලාගෙන යනකොට මුකුත් design කරලත් නැහැ, design කරපුවා පටන් අරගෙනත් නැහැ. So then you are not comfortable with that, right? So then, are you going to test operating effectiveness of that? Can we do that? No. Can't, right? If there's no design, no implementation, how can you test the operation? Do we need to waste your time to check the operation? No need, right? So then you can go to full substantive approach. Before that, I'll tell you that in audit procedures, once you are executing audit procedures, basically we have 2 audit procedures. What are they? Test of controls and substantive procedures. Right? These are the basic 2 procedures. More than that, we may have some other procedures. Don't confuse. Basically, we are dividing it into 2. Sometimes we may have other procedures like board minutes test, JE testing. Likewise, we have other general procedures. Don't think about too much about that. So that you miss the Excel, right? Right. So you have two separate audit procedures, TOC plus substantive procedures. Then TOC substantive procedures. TOC mean you are checking operating effectiveness of the controls, right? This is not depend on the monetary values. You know, the evidence mean the voucher checking. We are not focusing not about the numbers. We are focusing about whatever the design and implementation, we are going to ensure that within the period that was happening. For walkthrough test, we select only one sample, right? For TOC, we are selecting more than 25, 30, 50 samples. Why? That should be spread throughout the period. So we are going to ensure that according to the design and implementation, all the operational items, operation was done. So then we have to do TOC. Substantive procedures mean for balances, we are going to verify the source documents. Substantive procedures can be divided into basically TOD and ARP. That's a one classification. What do you mean by that? Test of details and analytical review procedures. Test of details mean whatever the balances we have, we are checking details, source documents, test of details. Whatever the balances we have, we are checking, we are doing some analytics and confirm that balance. We can do both ways, right? Some of the instance we do both ARP plus TOD according to the risk, right? Basically, we can say that substantive procedures are TOD and ARP, right? So then TOC and substantive procedures, both procedures can be done as auditor. So that understanding should be there. So then under planning, we have to plan both TOC and substantive procedures. Now we are in that level. So here, what we can do is, in some audits, we can do TOC plus substantive procedures. TOC plus substantive procedures. Some audits we can only do substantive procedures. That depends on the audit approach. That depends on the audit approach, right? Audit approach may be fully substantive, or rely on control. Rely on control means you do TOC and substantive procedures both, right? Fully substantive means you are not going to do TOC. You are not going to do TOC. Why? What's the reason? Your design and implementation effectiveness giving a not rely on control conclusion. Because of that, you can see walkthrough test giving two results: rely on control and not rely on control. Not rely on control, you don't need to do TOC. TOC, no. No TOC. Full substantive procedure, only TOD and ARP, right? But the matter is, if it is rely on control, that's the area. If it is rely on control, but still we can use full substantive or rely on control approach. Then you can ask, why is that? What's the reason for, if it is the rely on control, but still you are going to do full substantive approach? What's the reason? Cost effectiveness. According to the cost effectiveness, no need to test TOC. We can straight away go to full substantive number verification. So there's no point to do TOC. If it is so, we can move to full substantive. So the cost, practically, we don't need to do that. If it is so, we can do full substantive. So then here also we are not doing TOC. Not doing TOC. Right? Here, rely on control. We are doing TOC plus substantive procedures here. Right? So example, right? Let's say you are doing a manufacturing company audit. you are having two borrowing facilities. Borrowing facility, loan. Let's say two loans are there, right? Two loans definitely from the balance sheet is a significant account. It was selected to escort loan granting and payments. Escort, right? You did the walkthrough. Design and implementation is clear, effective, because if there's a loan granting, there should be a board approval. So then that should pass to the general ledger. All the loan related payments should be done monthly with the approval from the CFO. So then design effectiveness is clear, implementation also effective. So then question is, do we need to test operating effectiveness under control level? No need, right? Why? For two borrowing facilities, we have two agreements and two amortization schedules, and for 1 year we have 24 installments, right? One loan we have 12 installments that can be 100% tested in the balance level. So the why do we need to check the operating effectiveness? No need. So the cost effective purpose, we are doing full substantive approach. So then if we have lesser number of transactions, what we can do is we no need to do control testing. Control testing will be focused that area having millions of transactions. So the number also very high. So then we can't actually verify that. Firstly, we have to test comfort on the controls and then result will be tested. So then basically you should understand according to the walkthrough results, there may be reliant control or not reliant control. Based on that, not reliant control we can do for full substantive. Reliant control also cost effective purpose we can do full substantive, or else we can do reliant control approach, right? Reliant control approach. So then if you are doing reliant control approach, you can see again you are doing TOC. You do operating effectiveness testing, right? Then you are covering what? Here you are covering this as that. You are supposed to cover this. You are supposed to cover operating effectiveness of the controls, right? So then after doing TOC, again you have a conclusion like this. Like this, you have a conclusion. What is that conclusion? What is that conclusion? Here the design and implementation, here the operation. Operation, reliant control or not reliant control, right? So then again what we have to do? Then again, if we have done TOC, then again we have to do the CRA. CRA. We can call that reassessment of the CRA. Reassessment of the CRA. After doing TOC, operation effectiveness, this conclusion should be adjusted to the IR and CR calculation, combine this. So then new CRA. According to that, we need to decide the substantive procedure threshold. Substantive procedure scope will be decided based on the new CRA, updated CRA, right? So then I'm asking a question. So then what is the relationship between TOC and substantive procedures? TOC and substantive procedures. So then both are audit procedures. What is the relationship between both?
CRA.
Yes, CRA. Then if you have further elaborate that, now you know which time you have to do TOC, or TOC is option, obvious, right? Now you know that answer for this, right? I told that first day or second day, this is option, this is optional, and I asked to put a star here. Now you know the star, reason for star. Now you can document it. So then you have to consider this. You may have a star here. That star should be explained now. Why that optional? According to the walkthrough results, you can decide full substantive approach. If it is so, no need to do TOC. If it is reliant control also, for the cost-effective purpose, some of the scenarios we are not doing TOC, we are going with full substantive approach. Both scenario we are not doing TOC, but if we have, many of transaction during the period, definitely we do test the controls, critical controls, right? And we need to know how we are going to test critical controls, how you identify critical controls. That should be discussed. So then for the understanding purpose, you can take as doing TOC. Doing TOC mean what? Checking operating effectiveness of the controls. So then after doing TOC, you have to reassess again the CRA, and that CRA should be used for getting the scope for substantive procedures. So my question is what? What is the relationship between TOC and the substantive procedures? I'm asking this and this, what's the relationship? SP scope and substantive procedures. I'm asking this three yellow color areas, the relationship of this. Can you give me an answer? We are doing TOC, adjusting the scope of the SP, doing SP. SP mean TOD and ARP. What's the answer? I'm asking the relationship between this and that. Not a visual again, visual වලින්ම දෙන කියනවා. What's the relationship between this, and this? Anyone can explain this to me?
Both are audit procedures to obtain audit evidences.
Yes, that is the understanding. That's the general understanding. Both are audit procedures. That's the relationship. Agree. Both have to be. The difference is substantive procedures must do, the TOC optional. Both should be documented. Those are similarity, but there's a kind of a interlink between this TOC and substantive procedures.
Whether we should do high or low audit procedures.
Whether we should do high
More
or
procedures.
low substantive procedures will be
Yeah.
decided based on the TOC, right?
Yes.
Correct. Very correct. So then you are supposed to do substantive procedures, right? To substantive procedures where you are getting the scope threshold to select samples, to select more than items, you are getting threshold from substantive procedure scope that will be derived from what? New CRA. That new CRA will be embedded the TOC results. TOC results, right? TOC results definitely reliant control, maybe reliant control. Why? Most probably rely on control. Why? Implementation and design effective. Normally, test of the rely on control may be there. So then that rely on control conclusion will be added to new CRA and it will reduce the scope. It will reduce the scope and it will reduce the substantive procedures which supposed to do. Sometimes you no need to do TOD, right? Or TOD කරන්න ඕනම නැති වෙයි සමහර විට. ඇයි? TOD the ARP the lazy. TOD ARP lazy. මොකද ARP mean analysis, only analysis, right? TOD mean you have to check the test of details. You have to read the vouchers and read the deed, and every sources should be checked physically. So then if you are comfortable with controls and you are limited scope, your substantive procedures may be very easy, right? So that is the link. I hope it's clear or confused. Is that clear? Or I hope that is clear, right? නැත්තම් මම ආයෙත් next week අනිවාර්යෙන් ඔක explain කරනවා. For today basic understanding එක තිබුණා නම් ඇති. So then we'll discuss this next week, right? මේක තේරුම් නැති කට්ටිය කියන්න බලන්න. So I want to know what the exact outcome. I try to explain with examples and scenarios. So I hope that it's clear. Jayasinghe, Diyanage.
Yes, sir.
So then, did you get my explanation about TOC and substantive procedures or full substantive approach, reliant control approach, those stuff?
Yes, somewhat got, sir. I need to review again. Not totally, but I'm trying to understand.
Yes, please. So then go through those things and come up with the exact concern. ඔයා කියනවා නම් කෙලින්ම මට සර් තේරුණේම නැහැ රීඩු කරන්න කියලා. So then I will do that. Now I can do it, right? So then now, not now, the next week morning session where the first hour can be used to recap and re-explain that. Otherwise, this will be repeated another 2 months time because we are going to start substantive procedures and TOC that will be discussed for each and every significant accounts and disclosure. So then I am going to discuss revenue related TOC, which approach we are going to select, and full substantive TOC, and then what are the substantive procedures, what are the TOC, how we are going to document it, and then we are moving to revenue, and then we are moving to expenses, salaries, other liabilities, fixed asset, inventory, cash, contingent liability. Likewise, we are planning to discuss each and every critical significant accounts and disclosure with the procedures, TOC and substantive procedures. So then you should have proper understanding and a kind of a foundation to move to that level. It means to start execution, you should have proper understanding about planning and risk assessment. Otherwise, no point to do execution. We can't do that. You can't understand at least. Right?
Sir, TOC store නම් SP 0 කරන්න පුළුවන්?
බෑ. TOC කළා ඒක කරන්න බෑ. හොඳ ප්‍රශ්නයක්. TOC fullම effective කියලා substantive නොකර ඉන්න බෑ. Prime substantive අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කරන්න ඕන. Substantive තව විදියකට බෙදෙනවා, right? දැන් මම මේ බෙදුවේ එක විදියක් කියලානේ කිව්වේ. Substantive TOD and ARP, right? තව classification එකක් තියෙනවා. That is PSP and OSP. Primary substantive procedures and other substantive procedures. Primary substantive procedures and other substantive procedures, right? Primary substantive procedures should be done without considering any risk level. Primary mean like a primary education, right? Primary substantive procedures are the procedures given by the auditing standards to cover. So that is a minimum requirement for a significant account. That should be covered, and OSP will be decided based on the risk. It means, so that whatever the conclusion you are getting from control activities, the substantive procedure should be done. Are you clear? Is that clear?
තේරෙනවා.
තව ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න ඕන තරම් අහන්න ප්‍රශ්න. challenge කරන්න ඔයාගේ understanding එක වෙනස් නම් අහන්න. Whatever the concern, doubts, මොනවද සර් මේ දාලා තියෙන්නේ? සමහර කටියට මුකුත්ම තේරුන්නේ නැද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ ඉතින්. ඒ කියන්නේ මුල ටිකක් අවුල් ගියා නම් significant account හරියම මිස් වුණා නම් එතනම මිස් නේද? ස්කොට් දන්නෙත් නැහැ. walk through තේරෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. walk through conclusion තේරෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක බේස් කරන් TOD මේව තේරෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. So then no way. One by one you should have understanding, right? Okay then. I hope up to now, up until this stage, you are clear, you are comfortable, right? Right. So then right, yes.
Sir, TOC also substantive procedure?
TOC also substantive procedure. Your question is not clear. TOC is different one. Substantive procedure is substantive procedure. TOC mean checking the operating effectiveness of the controls. ඔයා හිතන්න control එකක් තියෙනවා. control එකක් මතක් කරගන්නකෝ. control එකක් කියන්නේ ලක්ෂ දෙකට වැඩි payment සේරම CFO sign කරනවද? ඒක control එකක්නේ. right. ඒකේ තියෙනවා design එක තියෙනවා implement කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි design implement walk through කරන්න ගත්තේ කොච්චර item ගත්තද scenarios එකයි ගන්නෙ සාමාන්‍යයෙන්. එක item එකයි ගන්න walk through එකට. අපි කියන්නේ walk through එකට sample සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි select කරන්නෙත් නෑ. අපි කියනවා auditor දෙන්න කියලා. auditor දෙන්න කිව්වම දෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? හොඳම එක. හොඳම එක දුන්නම අපි හොඳටම බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් process එක නේද? හොඳටම බලාගෙන හොඳ නම් TOC කරනවා. TOC කළා බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් හොඳටම තියද කියලා. TOC ගන්න sample basis. මොකද්ද TOC වල කරන්නේ? TOC වල කරන්නේ more than 500,000 payments during the period March ඒව ගන්නවා. And then April, May, June, July, November, December, by representing each and every month, we are selecting samples. Per month, 5 items. Selecting and we are checking more than 500,000 payment has been approved by CFO before they are processing the payment. We check that and document it. We are checking the control signature, not right? So that is TOC. That's not about substantive procedures.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. So others, I hope that's clear. For today, I'm going to stop now. How about others? We have here Kavodya. Kavodya, did you get all the things discussed or doubt?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Abhay Gunawardhana. Abhay Gunawardhana නේද class එකේ? ගුණවර්ධන නෑනේ. රත්නායක රත්නායකත් නෑ. ඒ කට්ටිය නෑ හිටියටනේ ක්ලාස් එක. ජයසිංහ ඉන්නවද බලන්න. නෝට් කරලා තියාගන්න ඕන. රත්නායක නෑ. අබේ ගුණවර්ධන නෑ.
Yes, sir.
කවුද?
Jayasinha.
ජයසිංහ. මදුෂ මදුෂත් නැද්ද ක්ලාස් එකේ?
Yes, sir. Madhushia.
Okay.
Hello.
Madhusha,
Hello.
what's happened? So I discussed a lot about this process, walkthrough, and this audit approach. Did you get something or full mess?
Get something, but I need to another clarification. Some of TOD and
ඔව් ඒක එතකොට දැන් කොහොමද clarify කරගන්නේ? කියන්නේ දැන් clarify කරගන්න ඕනේ. එක්කෝ what option ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. So then you can talk to me or summarize things, and you can get all those things in next lecture. Early next lecture, I am giving a recap and discussion about this again. So then you can grab
yes,
all those things from that.
yes,
Otherwise,
sir.
you can talk to your colleague who participating audit training and got understood well, and talk to them and have a quick chat with them. මොනවද මේ කියන්නේ මොකක්ද මේ කියලා මම කියනවට වඩා ඒ කියන්නේ යාළුවෝ කියනකොට සමහරට තේරෙන්නේ. කොහොම හරි
Yes, sir.
තේරුම් ගන්න.
Yes,
right?
yes,
ඔයාට එහෙම තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඔයා ඔඩිට් කරන යාළුවෙක් තව ඉන්නව නම් එයාට කෝල් එකක් දීලා අහලා බලන්න. නැත්නම් ඔයා YouTube search කරලා බලන්න ඔඩිට් lectures තියෙනවා. ඒක search කරලා බලලා හරි learn කරන්න. කරලා කොහොම හරි කමක් නැහැ. මම කියන්නේ මම perfect lecturer මේ මගෙන් ඉගෙන ගන්න නෑ. Ultimate objective is end of the day you have to know practical audit process and what are the techniques, audit requirements, auditing standard requirements. You have to well aware. So that is the whole purpose. With that understanding, you can start execution. Execution means what are the audit procedures we can do for each and every balance and significant accounts.
yes. Okay.
So that part will be started from next week onwards. It may be area number 3, audit execution, right? So then to that, you should have proper understanding. That's my request to all of you all. So without that understanding, don't participate for lectures. You are wasting your time and my time. ඒක නිසා ඒක කරන්න කරලා එතකොට දැන් මේක ඉවරුණු ගමන් ඔයාලට මම group work එක දෙනවා. ලබන සතිය අනිවාර්යෙන් දෙනවා. එතකොට ඔයාලට තියෙන full audit එකක් set එකකට plan කරලා full audit plan එකක් risk assessment එකක් හදන්න practical. එතකොට ඒක practically කරනකොට ඔයාලට practical experience එකක් එනවා. So then you can practically test this knowledge. And all those things, my target is to have practical experience and sense about audit and assurance, rather having giving question papers at the final exam and putting some marks and giving A, B and C classes to you all. No point. All tasks focusing on the knowledge, right? So that's the requirement. And parallelly, I will send a assignment today, individual assignment. I am giving 2 days to that. Please complete that and upload to the LMS, right? I will share that after the lecture. Are you there in the class?
Yes, sir.
Right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm sending an assignment, individual assignment to you all. That should be done. That should be done in the manually. Manually mean. So then handwritten answer should be uploaded, not the answers typed in Word document or Excel. What you all can do is you can write that answer, put 20 questions are there, put 1 to 20 numbers and give the answer. Give the answer, just one answer, no need to explain that. No need to explain, right? So then just one answer. You can put that and upload. Otherwise, if you are doing Word document, what you are doing is you are sending Word document to your friend. He's changing his number and the index number, and he also upload into the this LMS. So then I can understand both are using Times New Roman, right? Same font. I can't understand. There's two different index numbers. So then for limit that, we should have a preventive control, right? What's the preventive control is we have to upload in handwriting, right? So then keep remember that upload handwritten answer sheet. I will give that 2 dates, right? 2 dates mean keep posted to your colleagues, and I'm not giving any this type of time for normal class. It's exemption class. Totally, I can understand people who are working. Some of people can't, participate for lectures. So then they also should know there's an assignment within 2 days. We have to complete that and upload. If you can't search a time from these 2 days, it's a matter. It's a question. So then those people can be penalized, right? Keep remember, today itself I will share the link, and through the LMS you can get the assignment and upload within 2 days. So that's the requirement. And next week we'll share the group assignment with the time frame and requirement. So accordingly you can start the group assignment as well. From now onwards, we are continually having assignments, right? Small assignments to get the awareness, to comfort with the subject knowledge. So that is the plan we have. With this plan, I hope you are clear and you are on track. So I'm going to wind up the session. So we'll meet up with a very effective session next week. I hope you are positive, the passion towards the subject. Right? Thank you very much.